The following is a presentation of iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to the Great American Speedway for the third to last race on the 2016 Roddcar Truck Tour Season 2 Championship. As we get set on closing in on a championship, there's a couple of weeks left for a couple of these guys to get their name into the picture, but at the moment, Christian Peterson looking like he's going to try to walk away with this one. We're happy to have you with us for the first part of LSRTV's double feature. We'll be with you here for the better part of the next 4 hours for some good sim racing action, and we're so happy that you're joining us right here as well on iRacing Live. Topside with you, myself, Evan Pasoko, joined by Andy Kessler. As always, Cisco Scarbo, who's downstairs in the production trailer, pushing the buttons and getting us on air. And Andy, 3 races to go in this championship. 15 have come and gone, and Texas stands in the way of Talladega and Homestead. And I think almost a lot of these guys are almost looking past this race tonight and looking at Talladega as maybe one last opportunity to get themselves back into this championship, because not only is Christian Peterson way out in front, but Christian Peterson's not slowing down. He's the fastest driver on track right now.
Yeah, he's just been outstanding all season long. Remember season number 1 last season, and just how close the battle was all the way up to the end with Hanner picking up the championship. But this season, it's just been Christian Peterson all said since his drop of the green flag back in Daytona, and he's been getting it done. 3 wins on the season. Just basically nobody can catch this guy currently. And like you said, top of the boards here, practice even, and as well as the qualifying effort. Getting set for tonight's race at Texas. So just proving why, he needs a solid race tonight so that if something happens next week at Talladega, he doesn't really have to worry about it when we come down to Homestead. So he's got a solid lead right now and looking to maybe gain some more of it tonight.
Yeah, and he's starting off at a good position. The gap officially is 56 points back to Rodney Wofford, and 63 when you get back to Seth the Merchant. 3 trips to victory lane, though, on the year for the driver of the number 71. Again, he looks to add to that total, and you would look at that and say, okay, 56 points, it sounds like a lot, and it is. It is a lot more, though, when you're looking at a field tonight of, I think, 14 trucks so far, 12 of which have taken a time in our open 5-minute qualifying session. If you go by those numbers for the rest of this, mathematically, it could be already over.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, a solid win here tonight, maybe a little bit more trouble from that 7 of Rodney Wofford, who's had a really good season, sitting where he is, second in points, but trouble for him here tonight would put him way back and just add that much more to the points lead for Christian Peterson. That basically a solid run at Dega next week as well would just pretty much lock it up. He would probably not even have to show up at Homestead if he really didn't want to.
And as those drivers get set to wrap up the qualifying session, we're set to do action for 83 laps tonight for the Lone Star State. So we'll get this race underway. Toss things down trackside with Jaden Berkey for the performance of tonight's national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
And with that, we are set to drop the hammer tonight in the American Childhood Cancer Organization Ford Mustang GT Pace Car. It's trackside, the field good grid up behind, so let's take a look at tonight's LSRTV starting lineup for the Texas 125. Nobody was fast enough to make up those extra 3/1000ths of a second needed to top the number 7 Christian Peterson. He'll go from second to best in practice to the best of the best. And he'll start from pole position tonight with a 28.986, and joining him on the front row to the outside will be the 88 of Mark Jorgensen Jr. Shane McEachin, solid effort tonight. He jumps up many spots for the practice times to start in third. Joining him outside to row number 2, going to be the number 7 of Rodney Wofford, who's another important name in this championship hunt. And just behind them, and rounding out your top 5, the 46 of Anthony Ankello.
How about Rod Flagg in the 26, rolling off in that 6th starting spot? Row number 4, that's going to be Frank Basilia last week, a couple weeks ago, winner at Phoenix, our last truck race. Got the job done there. He'll start 7th, 8th on the outside of row number 4. That's Daniel Holloway. 9th would be the Matt Quick machine in the 89, and Sean Bowdy in the 3rd spot.
Just behind in the number 11 position, you'll find the 13 Kelly Dahl, and the final driver to take a time and qualified for P12. Rounds in with the 8 Dane Osborne. Provisional is going to extend us to a 15-truck field tonight. 13th position, the Good Rent Service Plus Chevrolet, Brandon Jaburko. Corey Henry to the outside in the Geek Squad number 12, and he is actually not going to be on tracks. That's Jason Oatlis, 51, will take his spot on the grid. The 12 does have an opportunity to start this one from the pit lane, and that at this point would be his only option, because he loses his grid position on the racetrack for not making it to the grid in the scheduled amount of time. So with that, the field rolls, and they're ready to go at it. The final race here on the year, third to last of the championship. Texas going to be disposed of, and we talk about a schedule that is so heavy with intermediate racetracks, and you can look at the calendar and look at where we're really going to be in a couple of weeks' time, and somewhat argue the statement, because we will be at Homestead Miami Speedway for 83 laps for the championship race. It's not a trial, although it's a very unique racetrack down in South Florida, so I'll consider this the final cookie cutter we have on the year. The next 2 weeks going to be exciting. Next Friday night, and then 2 weeks from now on the Friday evening as well, the 10th and the 17th, going to be the final 2 races on this calendar, and we look to see what kind of statement Christian Peterson can make here. He's in a good spot, a solid finish tonight, maybe a 4th trip to Victory Lane could lock it up for him.
Yeah, keep an eye on that 34 tonight. He's a winner most recently at Kansas at a 1.5 miles, as well as the 3 of Brandon Chaburko. Keep an eye on him. He won as well on the 1.5 miles, but Christian Peterson, the last one to do it in Vegas a few weeks ago.
The pace car get it up to the inside, and we're ready to rock and roll in Texas. Green flag waves it underway for the Texas 125. Your pole sitter could jump on the inside. It's all Christian Peterson down to turn number 1. Jorgensen get a challenge top side. They're going to get up through the gears, up to 3rd and up to 4th already at 165 miles an hour at a 2. Peterson gets cleared for the point and side by side behind him.
Yeah, some side-by-side action going behind these guys. That's 28 of Shane McEachin, Mark Jorgensen Jr. on the outside lane, trying to use that momentum to get himself propelled into that position. Not going to happen this time. Some close quarters just behind him, almost some 3 wide action. Rodney Wofford able to back out of it just a bit there. He'll drop back in line, let Anthony Ankello now take over that top side. Here comes Shane McKeechin, though, up front. He's looking for that race lead as the 71 moves up high.
He'll get to the outside lane of the racetrack, and you saw once Peterson got clear, he went to the outside. He wanted to be able to get the good arc down into the turn and open up the inside lane of the racetrack, and that's right now where you see digging on the inside. Shane McKeechin second at the first lap, but now he will get to the point after 2 laps of competition, and we get to lap number 3 with a Havoline Toyota charging hard on the bottom, and he's got a lot of help. The 94 of Basilia going to push him up through and up out of the way, and he'll go to the inside, and now 3 wide. Jorgensen all the way down to the white lawn. He'll put on a side-by-side fight as McKeechin fades up top, and somehow it's the Tracker Boat Chevy that leads lap number 3.
Yeah, it was some great racing there on that lap. A few different leaders just in one lap time right there. Frank Busilia, though, who is the most recent winner in the Truck Series at Phoenix a few weeks ago, and he's looking pretty sporty here in the early going as well here. Got his nose right up in the midst of everything, and he was looking for that race lead until that 88 of Mark Jorgensen Jr. said, I don't think so. I'm taking over this thing. We're here at Texas. We know that 88's been pretty fast this season. He's starting to pull away just a little bit now, 2-3 truck lengths now as they work their way back into turn number 1.
And for the first time, single file inside of the top 5. A little bit of side-by-side deep in the pack for 8th or 9th position. The 13 of Kelly Dahl, Matt Quick in the 51, and Jason Altmans are doing a little bit of a dance back there, coming off of turn number 2 with all eyes up on front, because you got Frank Basilia, who probably should have led that time by, but Jorgensen, with a power move out of nowhere, gets to the point, but Basilia picking up 6 spots already, trying to get that 6th position to get to the top spot. Started 7th, runs in 2nd right now, and not as surprisingly, Andy, we got Brandon Chiburko, who started 13th on a provisional, is just 0.6 of a second behind your leaders in P5.
Yeah, it's been a great march to the front for him. Of course, don't forget he won at Kentucky back in April. He definitely knows how to get it done on these bigger tracks. Michigan, a winner there as well, too, and, of course, Auto Club. So Brandon Chiburko at these bigger tracks, these 1.5 miles and bigger, definitely has one of those vehicles that can get the job done. Always has a lot of speed, and you can see him already up to the top 5 and still trying to make some more noise here to get himself even closer to the front. And battle for the 3rd spot, though, heating up now into turn number 3.
Side by side, they're going to go for that position, and it is Peterson on the inside getting the job done. He looked like he was off to the races out in front, went to the top side, and got freight trained, falling back to 4th. He'll get back inside of a podium running position with a move on to number 7 of Wofford, and he'll leave Rodney Wofford back to the clutches of that 3 of Brandon Chiburko. They're going to have to decide amongst themselves who's going to walk away with P4, but all of that now behind Jorgensen, the Tracker Boat Chevrolet, trying to pull away. He's out by 2/10.
Yeah, he's doing a great job pulling away, ever so slightly each and every lap, but he's definitely been putting the laps down here over the last 3 or 4 now. About 5-6 truck lengths now separate him, Frank Busilia, up another 10th that time by. So he's definitely got a lot of speed in that 88. We'll have to keep an eye on him, though, as these laps start to tick away. 15 laps or so. It's about when these tires will start wearing out for these drivers. So we'll see how much he's actually saving while he's out there pedaling up here. Battle for 4th, though. Here comes Brandon Chiburko now. Drops to the inside, gets real loose, maybe touched the apron there just a bit. Saves it, though, but he's going to lose a lot of ground now to that 7.
Yeah, we know that 3 to be the person that's going to get to that limit, and more times than not, it seems, step over that line and push it a little bit too much, but he'll take that information, put it in the back pocket, and wait till late in the race, and he'll know exactly where he can put that truck on the limit without making the same mistake as he did before. But that does cost him a significant amount of time, and in fact, just Shane McKeechin is looking real sporty in the 3 down into the grass coming off of turn number 4. He'll be able to hang on to it, no problem. And McKeechin behind now thinks that this is his chance. He'll try to look to the inside, but not able to do it.
Yeah, he won't get the momentum there off of turn number 2, so he'll be stuck behind the 3 of Brandon Chiburko, at least for the time being. A switch for that 2nd spot just a moment ago. Christian Peterson able to get around Frank Busilia while these guys are battling out pretty hard for themselves here outside, or for that fifth position, I should say. Traverko again through the grass. We saw, I think he did this at Vegas a few weeks ago as well, too. Just an interesting line, and not surprised it's the three who's trying it.
Yeah, it's something. I can tell you that much. And he's on the outside of the racetrack. It didn't really work for him this time, though. Was able to maintain the position in front of McEachin at the time. But the one making the moves was the 50-winner Jason Oatmans, who almost got it from him that time in 3. Goodwin Chevrolet is able to hang on, and he'll take the off-road excursion again. But with Oatmans up against the fence, I think he'll get the spot sooner than later.
Yeah, I just don't know if the three realizes there isn't four-wheel drive in these trucks. So going through the grass might not give him an advantage here, but, he's going to try. He's going to try anything and everything if he possibly can here. But you're talking about the 51 of Jason Altmans. How about him? Another great climb up through the field here early on. Started dead last in 15th up to that 6th spot, trying to get 5th away from Brandon Traverko as once again he goes dirt tracking through the grass. And once again, gets loose there going into turn number 1, and it's going to give that 51 the advantage right there, so it didn't so much work that lap.
And like we had predicted, it's going to give Oatmans the position. But McEachin, even on the outside of the racetrack, the Havoline Toyota Tundra, he'll take over the number 6 spot as Oatman takes over the number 5 spot, and they get a single file things out behind with, for the time being, that position having been dealt with. And behind the 3, next up in line, Anthony Ankello. Going to try to do something with it, but let's take a look up front. The gap that Jorgensen was starting to make a little bit on Peterson lap by lap is gone down. The gap now within 0.2 of a second. It's about a 3-car length differential down in turn number 3, and possibly what could be a good battle for the race lead. Texas, one of the very fast tracks on the sim, and it is extremely quick in these NASCAR trucks, and there's a lot of draft that 71 is taking full advantage of.
Yeah, the draft, and also I think when you saw him go to the high side there in the opening couple laps, probably trying to conserve tires in those opening laps, and I think it's really paying off for him, and that's another reason why we've seen that 71 to victory lane 3 times this season. That's why we see him 56 points up on the championship lead over that 7 truck. So this is why he has been as dominant as he has been all truck season long here, is because of moves like this, dropping to the back, knowing to save his tires, and then coming alive towards the later surges of the run.
15 trucks started this race, mentioned Corey Henry. He did take the green flag down from trackside at his pit stall, the AMD Chevrolet on track. 22 seconds, however, back for the drivers up at the front of the field. That really puts him in a bad spot if you're talking about somebody who's trying to not get lapped, because you're looking at 30 seconds, 30.5. The last time for the guys at the back and the guys up front, still running 29.9s out on the racetrack. So they've already lost a second from the tire fall off, but it is still in a position where they're going to be catching up to Corey Henry sooner than later. And Henry did not take time in practice, did not take time in qualifying, so it's hard to tell what he does have underneath the hood and how the truck's going to be handling tonight. But he continues to fall further and further back, which means they're getting closer and closer, and he's going to hope for an early race yellow flag. Otherwise, he might find himself in a bad spot before we get to the first cycle of pit stops, now 19 laps in.
Yeah, 15 trucks in this race here tonight, so chances of a yellow happening, they would have had to happen early on that restart, but for the time being, we see them now pretty much spread out throughout the field. A couple drivers close to each other, but nothing really making much of a noise. You see Traverko, he's probably the closest one, looking for some side-by-side action with the 28 of Shane McEachin as they work their way to the stripe here. But after we saw that 3 really make up some ground, he's starting to fall back to the 8th spot now. So maybe those runs through the grass, the way he drove, maybe something there, definitely wore those tires out a lot quicker than he was expecting. But you can see him still battling Shane McEachin, taking that spot back away from him as Matt Quick tries to get around that 28 machine as well. So it's just going to be a long road if they can't keep them tires underneath them for the time being. But still the great battle up front starting to shape up. He fell back a little bit, but Christian Peterson's starting to reel him in off too.
He is ever so closer that time, and I'll tell you what, the 71, so tight to the outside fence that a 2-wheel go back to the inside, and we saw these guys going all over the place and a little bit too low that time. Peterson going to get the left side tires down on the apron. Bobble, he hangs on, but all that work that he did to work it in from 0.3 to 1/10, he's going to have to do it all over again. Now over 0.6 of a second behind. After that, really killed his momentum. Not only did he get sideways, lose a lot of speed in it, but it was right off the corner. So we lost all the speed from the straightaway down to turn number 1. And Jorgensen took full advantage. Caution flag will fly just after we say that. Problems in turn number 3.
Yeah, problems in turn number 3. It looks like the 89 of Matt Quick involved with that in the back straightaway there. We'll see if we can get a replay up for him. I see him spun out down there, but it looks like the 3 truck of Brandon Chaburko maybe got loose in front of him off the corner and got up into the wall off turn 2. Nowhere for the 89 to go, and the 2 of them hard hit into that inside wall. And our first caution of the night right there. Right where I called it, Evan. I said around the 3 of Brandon Chaburko, those guys were getting racy, and that's sure enough, that's where the caution was.
Too much grass on the tires of the 3 for it to be able to hook up coming off of turn 2. And unfortunately for the 80 automatic, quick nowhere for him to go. He guessed inside. He could have stayed up top, and the 3 could have stayed in the fence. He could have ran into the back of him, but wrecked. He guessed low. It didn't work, and the 3 came down. And it was a pretty heavy lick to the inside for both of those trucks. And we do have that early race caution flag that we talked about Corey Henry hoping for. The 12 is going to be able to stay on the lead lap and join him for caution flag pit stops. They're all in at once and 2 wide down pit road for 3rd.
Yeah, Frank Basilia, how about that? Just coming down pit road saying these guys are going too slow. Jumps in next to the 7 of Wofford. The only good thing is he'll enter his box before that 7, so it won't cause an issue for these guys getting into their pit stalls to get service done on their trucks the first time here tonight. 4 tires of fuel should be the call for all these drivers to get themselves back out on the racetrack. Just about a quarter distance, or a little over a quarter distance done with this one. So already 4 tires and fuel. That was a good race off of pit road too. I'm not too sure who might have won that, but the 88, that was awfully quick there getting off pit road.
And the drag race to the line, it looks like it is going to be in favor of Mark Jorgensen Jr. Normally the number 1 pit stall with the advantage. The 88 shortcuts it by not having to go around him on the inside. And I think he got him by maybe half a tire coming off of the corner. Peterson was still spinning the tires, and he will not be able to win that battle. You do see the number 8 Budweiser Chevrolet in front of the field now. Dana Osborne, 2 laps down, elects to stay out, and now is only 1 lap down. He'll take the wave by the next time around, and will be the only car off of the lead lap. The other 14 trucks, as you see the 8 car go, are still on the lead lap right now.
Yeah, unfortunate enough for the 89 of Matt Quick, he was able to use the 1 reset that they're allowed in this series, and gets himself back on the racetrack. Still looks like heavy damage on that truck as well. Probably the only thing he got to fix was the motor on that one, but he's going to have some handling issues as this one further goes into the night here, as we only work lap number 25.
It's still early in the total of 83 laps start to finish tonight. We've seen 83 quite many times so far over the course of the year. We did see this 83 laps we saw back in Las Vegas. We'll see it in Homestead coming up, but for all of these intermediate racetracks, Kansas, Chicago, Kentucky, earlier in the year also at Charlotte and Atlanta. So race lengthwise, when it comes to tire strategy, when it comes to fuel strategy, they're pretty down pat on all the possible different scenarios that a 83 lap race could bring them, and an early caution flag allows them to keep pushing some buttons on top of the pit box and trying to formulate a strategy.
Yeah, strategy. We've seen strategy come into play many times in this truck series, whether it was last season or this season here. So definitely that odd number of laps that they run each and every week definitely plays for that. It all depends on when these cautions fall, at what times they fall, and who's going to have the strategy. Who's going to have the strategy to get themselves where they need to be when the end of the race comes. So it's always been part of these truck series races. It definitely plays a factor, and it's always fun to see if somebody tries something different to maybe squeeze one out and maybe sneak a win away from some of these guys.
couple of the guys at the back of the pack come back down pit road to get some service. Dane Osborne back in from one lap down at 14th position. It looks like in front of him, Rod Flag is in to get some service as well. Brandon Chaburko has also fallen one lap off of the lead lap, so he and Osborne sit one lap behind at the moment. And Osborne at the moment in the lucky dog spot because the 3 is, I think, going to be at the back for the cause of the caution flag. And he does have a heavily damaged Goodwrench Chevrolet. No quick fixes on the night, so these guys going to have to race with what they have left as we get set for the first restart on the evening.
Yeah, first restart of the evening. The 88 of Mark Jorgensen Jr. getting his opportunity to lead the field to the green flag. And green flag will wave, and we'll get back to racing here at Texas. And 3 Truck trying some moves there towards the back of the field, trying to get as many spots as he possibly can. Not going to do any good being one lap down. He'll go back to the high side as the 88 pulls away about a truck and a half length lead now off of turn number 2. How about the 7 of Wofford now looking to get by the 71 of Peterson as they head back to 3.
Side by side for second and side by side for fourth and sixth and on. They're going to finally find some single file coming off of turn number 4. Jorgensen paces the way. Wofford to second, but Peterson half tires in the grass on the inside. Hills cross him over and make it side by side once again for the number 2 position on the inside. They're really getting pinched down. Wofford doesn't want to give up.
No, he doesn't want to give up, trying to use that momentum to at least keep them side by side for the time being. They get side by side behind him as well as Wofford does finally surrender that position. Altman's now left on the outside lane, trying to get around that 46 of Yankello. He's got the momentum here off of turn number 4, and he'll clear him at the start-finish line. That'll make our top 5 now single file. Sean Bounty now continues to race side by side with that 12 of Corey Henry.
Yeah, Henry in an interesting spot because, again, he was going to go a lap down. Now caution flag. He pitted with the leaders. He's back in this thing, and almost, I think, if he didn't, he got awfully close to coming over the nose at 94 of Basilia, slicing to the inside on Sean Bounty, and that will be a fight with P6 coming off of turn number 2. Surprisingly enough, everybody in front of them single file for the moment. And the battle behind going to go in favor of Bounty in favor of Henry at the start finish on, and Bounty going to lose it at turn number 2, give the 12 the spot.
Yeah, give the 94 an opportunity now as well. Frank Busilia, who we saw up in the second spot early on this race, pit stop, had him fall back a little bit into the field now, able to get around that 34 to Sean Bounty. Rod Flag as well here at the start finish line. He'll get around that 34 as well too. So how about this? Look at that 51 now driving his way up towards the front of the field. He really dove it in there into turn number 1. Gets to the inside of the 7, but the momentum on the outside lane will allow Rodney Wofford to keep that 3rd spot now as they head back to turn number 3. But that 51's been looking pretty racy here tonight.
A very competitive race so far with only 15 trucks taking a green flag and 13 who sit on the lead lap at the moment. There's been plenty of action to talk about at the front of the field that very shortly going to be taking the halfway point in tonight's race. I mentioned that there's not a lot of double file. In fact, I mentioned we were surprised to see the single file. It doesn't mean they're not going at it. They are bumper to bumper to bumper. 7 to 51, the 46, and in the middle, Yankello's going to run out of room. To the apron, Corey Henry. He'll get sideways, slide up battle line, and he'll take the Chaburko line coming off of turn 4, but a spectacular save for Corey Henry.
That was awfully close right there. That could have caught up a lot of drivers right there, but ultimately it did not. Jason Altman's, though, up towards the front with a huge run on the back of that 7 machine of Rodney Wofford. He'll be right there on the back bumper, just unable to get the pass on as of yet. He's been working them over the last couple of laps, unable to get anything done now. Off of turn number 4, it's going to look again to the inside. He's got a pretty decent run. Unfortunately, once again, not able to get around that 7. Rodney Wofford been showing why he's second in the points standing so far here this season. But look at that 51 again, trying something different. Maybe the high side here. Unable to get him clear, though. He'll force his way now in there just slightly with the nose into 3.
if you're that even with somebody, you can do one of two things. You can keep on it, you could push the issue, and you might eventually work the guy over and get the job done. You might not have much left of those Goodyear Wrangler tires on board, so he tries to mix it up, tries to get something done. It's not going to happen, though. Wofford on the inside gets the spot, and I think Oltmans was trying to get a line behind him. Gets a little bit of a shot to the right rear of the 7 Chevrolet in front. Nothing happens and comes from it, but that was a little bit of an interesting moment at 170 miles an hour.
Oh, absolutely. Right in the center of the turn. I mean, that's probably the best place to get into somebody right there. But no, both did a great job. They're able to get off of the back bumper just a bit. That would have spelled a lot of trouble, I think, for that 7 truck if they were end up making more contact than what they did. But this racing right here for these two guys has been absolutely phenomenal over the past few laps. And the 51, once again, now, at least with the bottom side now, has the preferred line as they head back into 3.
Yeah, and down to turn 3, out of turn number 4 they come, and they are on each other's door as the battle for the number 3 spot continues in front of them. It is Ole Jorgensen, it is Ole Peterson. The fastest 2 trucks on the night continue that in the second stint on the evening, and they're pulling away by 1.5 seconds back to where we find that Geek Squad Toyota of Jason Oltmans, who makes the move, and he takes over 3rd, dropping Ronnie Wofford back to 4th.
Yeah, that was a very good, patient pass by that 51 of Jason Oltmans. We saw how aggressive he had been all race long there, really forcing the issue, getting himself up to this 3rd spot here from the 15th starting spot. So we know he's got the speed in the truck, but I think that pass right there is a lot of patience shown by that driver and able to, just take his time and knowing that eventually he would get it. He's got a fast truck, unable to pull away, though, from that 7. That draft really allowing Rodney Wofford to stick with him. A pass for position just behind him as well. Frank Lucilia just got around Anthony Ankello. That is that 5th spot right there. Give it back to the 94 as he tries to work his way back up through the field after a pit stop.
13 trucks on the lead lap on this run of the race in Osborne. The lucky dog spot, now the only car, 1 lap down. And 14th, Brandon Chiburko has brought the number 3 behind the wall, and his night is done. And now the 27, Daniel Holloway, going to go to the inside in turn 3. He got up into the outside fence, got hit in the back by Dana Osborne, and the FedEx machine limps to pit road.
Yeah, he heads to pit road to get service done on his truck. The 8 continues to stay out on the racetrack, already 1 lap down. Doesn't want to lose any more time if he can possibly handle that, but what that 8 is looking for is a pit stop here, hopefully under the caution flag if he can get one here. And we do get one. Caution out on the speedway, second one here tonight on lap 40.
To the 13 machine this time, problems with Kelly Dahl. The second time tonight, it starts in turn number 2. And much like we saw in the first one where the 3 at Chiburko got up into the fence and the truck in front of him or truck behind him rather, got up into him from the back end. This time, almost the same thing, but with just 1 truck. The 13 of Kelly Dahl, a little bit tight coming off of turn 2. And he kind of pancakes the right side of that truck. And the problem is, it's right where that safer barrier ends, so it almost bounces the car off. He spins it out. Good job of locking it up, keeping it out of the inside fence. But it does bring the second caution flag on the dyno.
Yeah, second caution flag. We approach that halfway point as well. So it puts these guys awfully close to being able to make it to the end here on this stop. But I really think there's still going to be at least one more stop for these drivers here as they get set to get down pit road for the second time here tonight. And I imagine once again we'll see 4 tires and fuel for all of our leaders right now. And they're heading that way down pit road. Jorgensen leading the way here, almost 3 wide there down pit road with the 51. Jason Altmans will have one of the first pit stalls here as they come down to the pit lane. So they'll be able to get in that stall first before everybody else and avoid any contact with the rest of the field. And they'll get that done. Everybody else down into their box. Looks like a pretty clean stop so far for everybody. 4 tires. Fuel, that's the call.
Right side's up and completed. Everybody going to go with the 4 tires on the pit lane. Do we see another drag race coming off? It's Jorgensen and Peterson, and this time the 71's going to get the job done. It looked like Oltmans came storming in to take second, a little bit short. by the telemetry coming off of pit road. I thought he might have had the 88 coming to the white line at the green cone to exit the pit lane, but the 88 Mark Jorgensen Jr. still scored in second.
That was a great drag race off that time, too. The 71, you can see him right from the get-go just smoking those tires coming off a pit lane, saying, I had to get opportunity now to lead us back to the green flag. It'd be the first time since the drop of the green flag here in tonight's race. So 71, we'll see what he can do this time, Evan. We saw him the last time not even lead a lap. That first go-around, had to surrender the lead awfully quickly. So we'll see what he can do this time as he will get his opportunity maybe to stick it out there, maybe lead some of these laps.
That's the idea, the 27 in front of the field. He does have the damage, though, as we had mentioned, and it kind of worked out because he came pit side and then the caution dropped, so good timing, bad circumstances, if you will, because Daniel Holloway does have some rear end, and he also has some right front damage as well on the number 27 FedEx Toyota, but it is still out on the racetrack, and I guess most importantly, when we take 40 laps to go this time around, it is going to be in the race lead. Let's take a look at your iRacing Midway Race Break as we work under the second caution flag of the night, brought to you by iRacing, the world's premier online racing game with professionally organized racing for NASCAR, IndyCar, the IMSA, and more. Daniel Holloway, your leader, he's going to step aside and hand things over to the number 71, Christian Peterson, as he comes down pit road to get serviced. So the number 71 going to be scored in the race lead as they come to take the one to go for the restart. Jorgensen, therefore, going to move up to P2. You got the 51 Jason Altman's in third. Ron Wofford fourth, and Frank Basilia P5.
Yeah, I look for the 51 to be really aggressive here on this opening couple of laps with these fresh tires. We saw how well he had moved his way up through the field both times that he had started with these fresh tires. So we'll see what he can do, maybe get that lead away from these two guys up front, and then we'll see if that 51 can actually pull away with the fresh tires. This is his opportunity, I think, on this restart to maybe get the job done, maybe get that race lead away from these two guys that have pretty much been the dominant trucks over the course of the night so far.
Did Osborne also down pit road to be serviced, and in fact he is able to get himself back onto the lead lap this time. So we do have 14 trucks on the lead lap for the restart. Go down to turn number 3 as we get set to go back to green flag action to Christian Peterson and Mark Jorgensen Jr. It's been a 2-truck battle on the front row. Does the 88 get something for the 71 machine? And if not, we'll have to find out if anybody else can interject themselves. But so far, what is easily but a 2-truck race. The green flag going to drop back underway with 39 to go, and they're all stacked up to turn number 1. A lot of contact as they get up to speed.
That looks like the 71 of Christian Peterson maybe spun the tires just a little bit, stacked up that bottom side, but is able to show some speed now coming off of turn number 2. They'll pull out just about a half a truck length now over that 88 as they head back into turn number 3, but all jumbled up the rest of the field right behind him. Altman's right there, unable to do anything on that opening lap, but for that 51 to start going as these tire pressures start to build back up in these trucks, and we'll see how quickly he can get his way to the front of the field. Top 5, though, single file. For the time being, here comes Altman's now off turn 2, looking for second.
And he was digging on the inside and almost got into the left rear. The 88 backs it off, and that allows Basilia to open up the inside, and they'll go door-to-door for the number 3 spot in turns 3 and 4. And a drag race off the quarter. The outside going to get the banking to his advantage. Drag race to the start-finish on it by 1/1000th of a second. Frank Basilia hangs on. And again, if you want to get yourself in a battle with the 71, the 88, you can't sit fighting too long for third. And Basilia executes and gets clear.
Yeah, he gets cleared. It slows up the 51 as well. And now the 7 of Wofford. We saw these two battling out over that last green flag run. Now they find themselves lockstep again, side by side here as they work their way off of turn number 4. The bottom side looks like once again going to maybe prevail. Maybe not that time. Jason Altman's able to hang on to that spot but just barely now as they go back into turn number 1 and 2. Still side by side. Sean Bounty looking on from behind. Has nowhere to go at this point.
Yeah, you want to talk about somebody who's just sitting around and waiting, and he can decide, do I want to get in behind the 51 or do I want to stand behind the 7? He's got to think who he thinks is going to win this battle, because if he chooses wrong, he could actually lose a couple of spots. If you see that 12 machine to Corey Henry forced to side by side with him, 12 not going to be able to do that yet. He's got the 46 on him himself, and what a move! Altmans swipes across the bumper, coming from the right front over the nose of the 7 on the Watford, takes any sort of lawn away and wins that battle second time in a row. The 7 loses a spot.
Yeah, and then what that does, slowed up Sean Bounty. He now finds himself in a fight for a position with the 12 and Corey Henry. We saw Henry moving his way up through the field up until he hit the apron. Oh, and now he makes contact with the 34 and the Rod Flag up into the wall. It might still green though. Everybody's still straight, everybody going, but huge hit. Nope, caution out now.
They were close, and they bounced off each other, and finally Rod Flag got loose on the apron, came back up, and he absolutely destroys Anthony Ankello, who was minding his own business on the outside of the racetrack. The 46 Chevrolet, the Skyline Chevy, going to come barrel rolling down the track. Caution flag is back out at lap number 50, and that one deserves a second look on the LSRTV replay.
Yeah, it was just some close racer right there. Started with the 12 and the 34 going into turn number 1. Made some contact. The 34 then came down onto the 26 of Rod Flag. Ended up pushing him basically down to that apron. Got him loose, and then, like you said, just absolutely destroyed that 46. Anthony Ankello, not exactly what he wanted to see here after having a solid top 5 starting spot here this evening at Texas.
So as they get single filed up, and possibly with the trip down to the pit lane under the caution, we'll take an opportunity to take a yellow flag of our own. Step back for a moment, and we'll return to the Great American Speedway for the restart in just a moment. Christian Peterson leads the way in the Texas 125. We'll race it out to the checkered flag when we come back. You're watching the Roddcar Truck Tour on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Did you know the lion's sense of vision is so powerful, it actually enables nearby creatures to see better? Here we see lions assisting the offspring of others, while their parents are elsewhere in the wild. Brilliant, isn't it? Making the wild kingdom look much better indeed. Do good, be a lion. While lions are notorious for their voracious appetites, they spend a great deal of time feeding other creatures. In fact, lions will take great care to ensure there's plenty to go around. As you can see, they keep giving with utter ferocity. Bravo, lions, and bon appetit. Do good, be a lion.
We're happy that you're back with us here at the Texas Motor Speedway. Lights are off on top of the pace car, and you get set for what could be one of the final restarts on the evening. A couple of yellows just past the halfway point. We got to slow down and a little bit of a different look at the running order. Pit stops as we stepped away. Matt Quick, the driver of the number 89 Chevrolet, well, he ends up in front of the field. He rolled down pit road, 2 right side tires only, everybody else taking 4, and he will be in control for the restart.
Yeah, 2 tires, lots of damage on that 89 from the earlier wreck. This is going to be an interesting restart. I think that top side is definitely going to have the advantage. Frank Brasilia needs to take it easy.
Pace car getting knocked down. Let's see if the revised running order will say, can it break up the 71, the 88? It's been a 2-car show all night so far. To the restart box, green flag in the air, second time in a row. It's a really tight restart as they're all over each other. On the outside, 2 wide to turn 1.
At 89 of Matt Quick got a huge bump from the 94 of Frank Brasilia right on the drop of the green, but look at the outside lane with all 4 fresh tires. Here they go now. Frank Brasilia looking 3 wide, decides to back off of that here for the time being. The 12, though, up into the wall. Corey Henry was either getting the wall or make contact with the 7, and that time he chose the wall here. Battle for second, though, rages on. 88 on the outside, going to take advantage with the 4 tires. He'll get that spot heading into 1.
He gets the spawn and side-by-side left behind him with the 94 of Basilia. Pinch into the right rear, try to make something out of it, and he'll be able to take enough air off of the 89 to keep the spawn. And 3 wide, the 51 of Oltmans. He'll drive up the middle, and they will stay door to door to door. In turn number 3, they're going to run out of room. 51, he'll get turned off the corner in problems.
Right into the 13 of Kelly Dahl involved in that one as well, and that was a huge hit right there. But that 51 just looks like maybe a little net code on that one right there, Evan. But that was still awfully tight racing right there for those guys off of turn number 4, and the 89 of Matt Quick hanging on with those two right side tires, but. That was an awfully close call there. Some tight racing in turn 3 and 4.
And with that, we got a couple more torn-up trucks after, second time in a row we saw it. They were just so tight on the restart. No separation. The inside lane normally gets clear maybe by 1 or 2 truck lengths. It doesn't mean that there's not side-by-side behind him, but there was just so many trucks there, and the 94 moves down the slightest bit for a brief moment. He goes back up, and you could kind of follow along with that seam on the racetrack, and it just squishes the 51 enough for him to run out of room, and that 7, tough luck behind for Ronnie Wofford, who's trying to get himself back in this championship picture because he was right behind it and didn't have an opportunity to get out of the way.
No, that's going to hurt him tremendously there with the damage on that truck. Coming down pit road, though, to see what he can get fixed on it and hopefully at least eliminate, or I should say, make the damage in the championship standings a lot less than what it could be if he had to park it for the night. So we'll see what that 7 can do here. Obviously, just 8 trucks still left on the lead lap, so he has an opportunity to still limit the damage from that right there. But although the 71, Christian Peterson, or the 88, it's either one of these guys' races. I think they've been the class of the field all night, and it's going to be a dogfight for these guys in the remaining under 30 laps now.
Peterson stays in front, Jorgensen back to second, and all is right in the world. Basilia back to third, Quick falls back to P4. And you have to start to wonder, can anybody do anything with the 72080? We talked about 83 laps. It's a good race length here at the Texas Motor Speedway in these trucks. And again, we talked about the strategy aspects of this not being anything different than what they've had to deal with all year long. On top of that, though, it's not long enough, I think, for guys to make enough adjustments to these trucks to be able to catch up to some of these guys and make up for time lost. I think that at this point, you almost have to, as much as the guys will, publicly say that they don't want to, but I think we all know that deep down they do it a lot more than they would like you to think. They're going to have to hope that there are some problems for the 71, the 88 up front, because so far, without a doubt, those trucks class of the field.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only one, honestly, that really maybe had an opportunity was Jason Allmans, but obviously involved in that wreck a couple cautions ago, a couple laps down. That puts him out of the question. Frank Basilia has been very tough all night as well, but it just seems even off the start, even with the fresh tires, just unable to get up there and not really challenge those two guys for that race lead. So it's going to go back and forth between these two, I believe, but it's going to be a great one anyway. And who knows? We've seen it twice already this season when the leaders took each other out in those closing laps. Brandon Chaburko, the benefactor in that as well, when we saw his win at Michigan earlier this season.
And as we said on the last one, and we'll say it again, this could be for the final time. We go back green. Still over 20 laps to go, though, which means a smidge shy of getting to three-quarter distance in tonight's Texas 125. And we have seen plenty of twists and turns so far in this one. Who's not to say that we could get a little bit of late race excitement here to really throw a wrench into what we think is almost a done deal race between the 71 and the 88. One or the other getting the job done here tonight. Just 8 trucks left on the lead lap. Peterson, Jorgensen, row 1. Quick Basilia back on row number 2. McEachin, Holloway, 5-6 on row 3. 7th and 8th on row number 4 for Corey Henry and Rodney Watford. And Sean Downey, Kelly Dahl and company hope for another yellow so that they can get back into this one. But the only 8 trucks that are on the lead lap remain. The Nada Bounty would get back to the lead lap if we were to get a caution. He's just 1 lap down in 9th.
Yeah, that's not what he wanted either in this race. Had a pretty fast truck. He'd been up there inside the top 10, flirting with that top 5 area here a couple times on the restart. So just unfortunate to be caught up in that wreck as well, too. So some fast trucks finding damage in these couple accidents we've had just a moment ago. But we'll see now who's got anything for these front two.
The pace cars get ducked at the safety of pit road, and we'll add about one more time. We look for the green flag coming out of Ford at the tri-oval. Green flag in the air and backing away from Texas. Great jump topside for Mark Jorgensen Jr. He'll beat Christian Peterson to the line, and on the outside, though, he'll lose some momentum door to door in the center.
Yeah, great start by both of those guys, Frank Basilia as well. They're all able to pull away now from that 89 of Matt Quick. That damage just really hurting him now as we close in on the finish of this one. Frank Basilia showing some muscle, though, right now as that 88 looks like maybe got a little bit loose there in the center of the corner. That's going to allow the 3 of these guys now to battle it out nose to tail here down the front straightaway. A great battle for that top spot here in the closing laps.
The 94 of Basilia started 7th, made up those 5 positions to get to 2nd, which was the highest that he's run so far all night long. He did that in the opening 4 laps of competition, but since then, he hasn't been able to make the extra step. The 71, the 88, they took over the 94, looking to dig a little bit extra into the closing laps at Texas. 21 laps to go. He still sits behind what's a bump draft in front of him.
Yeah, these guys, I mean, really pushing the issue, maybe trying to force the guys in front of them to make a mistake. Look at the run off of turn number 2 right there. The 88 now going to go looking to the inside. Had some help from the 94, Frank Basilia right there. They'll battle once again side by side for that race lead. Christian Peterson not going to have anything for him this time. The 88 now back to the top spot here off of turn number 4. They'll get to 20 to go that time.
20 laps left to go, and 8 trucks still on the lead lap. Jorgensen, Peterson, and Basilia. 1, 2, 3. At a caution, get a problem behind these guys. Shane McEachin just about to get himself into the fight in P4. He'll have to wait. It's trouble on the front straightaway. First time tonight, not in turn number 2 almost. The 12 of Corey Henry found the mirror down, or rather found the apron on the inside of turns 3 and 4. Behind, get together, trying to get around him, but the 12, the one that spins back up the racetrack hard into the outside wall. And just like that, we slow him back down, and now what was a 4-truck breakaway and starting to be a good battle, they'll have to wait at least 4 or 5 more laps before they get to do it again.
Yeah, and I like seeing that 28 of Shane McEachin, kind of one of those, where did he come from here late in the race, and showed a lot of speed right there those last few laps, really catching the top 3. So I like to see what he's going to be able to accomplish here on this next restart here, which will put us awfully close to about 15 to go when we do get that green flag. So it should be a lot of fun here, definitely in the closing laps. But it's going to be interesting to see with this few of cars on the lead lap if these guys decide to come down pit road once again.
It was a very short stint the last time, but we stepped away, and they did come down for service. This time, it looks like they're going to come down as well, side by side to the pit lane, Jorgensen and Peterson.
Yeah, the only good thing right there for Peterson is he knows the 88 is going to be pulling into his box just a little bit sooner, but he's actually passing him on pit lane here. What a great job by all these guys have been doing all night long on pit lane. And Shane McKeach did a great job as well getting into his box just perfectly there. Almost thought he was going to slide right through it, but it looks like Frank Basilia going to try the gamble. 2 tires, everybody else behind him 4 tires. So move that 94 now to the top spot. He wins the race off pit road. How about the 88 coming out second? Look at the 28. Shane McKeach did a great job on pit road getting out before the 71.
It was a good push by him. I'll say that Jorgensen was a lot more diplomatic in that than I would have been, Andy, because the 71 had to pit after him, but he could have kind of pushed him out to the grass until the last second and tried to mess up the 71, but they were clean in and clean out. The 88 first off on the 4 tires, and second off on the 4 tires, as you mentioned. McKeach is able to hop in front of Christian Peterson, which will put Peterson in P4 because we saw the gamble strategy call coming off of the pit lane with the 94 of Frank Basilia taking just 2 right side tires only. He was there, but I will say that it did look like he was kind of struggling to hang on to those 2 in front of him on that last fight. I think if this is going to work out for him, he needs to ride a couple of yellows through. He could make it a very wide Chevy Silverado, try to block a lot of the racetrack, but with all the 3 wide we've seen tonight, I think it'll be very hard for him to hold him off.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be real hard for him to hold him off here. We see the Sean Bounty getting back on the lead lap, so that'll give us 9 trucks here for this restart on the lead lap. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a tough one for him, I think, with the 2 tires to hold off those 2 guys, especially how fast they were all race long here. It's just going to be that much more difficult to hang on to this thing. But we've seen stranger things happen, too. You never know. With just a few laps on those tires, this might be exactly the feel that 94 needs to make himself that much faster here in these closing laps to possibly pick up a second win in a row as well, too.
67 laps going to be completed this time, Boz. So the restart will be either right at or just inside of 15 laps to go. And it is going to be a 2-tire versus 4-tire battle. If you decide that the 2 tires, or if we get to the point, Andy, where the 2 tires doesn't work, and you take that 94 out of the equation, you find yourself with Jorgensen, McKeach, and Peterson. The 28 kind of with a little bit of a late spurt here, trying to put himself in the fight. I still think that Jorgensen has the best truck out there. Outside of the front row, though, might not be as good of a restarting position as inside of row number 2. We normally like to talk about how sometimes starting in third better than starting in second, but I don't think that matters tonight. These guys have been so even. In fact, we've seen that second place truck win that race to the start-finish line, coming to the green flag so many times. I think it is much in the hands of the Bass Pro Shop Chevy topside. We'll see, though.
Yeah, I think that's all he needed, honestly, I think, was to come out ahead of that 71. I think they've just been too fast for everybody. I think this restart, I think they'll be able to hang on a little bit to the bottom side there, but I really think they're going to have the opportunity to overtake Frank Basilia with just those 2 tires here on this restart. It may take a lap or 2, but I really think that we'll see those 2 guys prevail. The one I'm interested in seeing how quick he will be, it's pretty quick, that last go-around there. It's that 28 of Shane McKeach starting on the bottom side there. He's just going to have to be careful on this restart. That 94 slips up, spins the tires, anything like that. The 28 could be right in his back bumper really quickly.
Right on the money with 15 laps to go from Texas. We get set to do it again once more. Pace car going to make the sharp left-hand turn. The 94, can the 2 tires be enough? Green flag waves, and top side, second time in a row, the advantage. Jorgensen the line.
Yeah, that was kind of an interesting play by the 94. It looks like he was trying to slow that bottom side up quite a bit there, and he did that. 71 able to get in front of Shane McKeach right there. How about the 94, though? Look at the power move off of the corner. He'll go low, though, to block that low line and only allow Jorgensen to do the top side. If he's going to get around him, Brasilia's telling him, you're going to have to do it on the high side.
Yeah, he is not getting it off of the white line, and we know the outside, it's a lane that works at the track, especially here tonight. Plenty of guys have gone up there, but Donnie Ford figures his best opportunity. Hold the bottom and don't give it up, because somebody goes to your outside, you could always take the Kyle Larson method of putting them in defense when push comes to shove. So he'll run the defensive line on the inside of the racetrack, and in fact, pulling away 3 truck lengths and maybe 4 coming off of the final quarter. Lap number 70 complete.
Yeah, like I said, maybe this is the 2 tires is exactly what he needed for the feel of that truck to suit his style. Maybe that's exactly what that 94 needed, and so far it's working. We'll see as this run goes on here. Obviously, just a little over 10 laps left to go in this. So, I mean, in about 5 laps or so, we could probably see maybe the 4 tires really start to see the advantage of them. But only time will tell as they continue to work their way through 3 and 4. The gap closing just a little bit now, 2 truck lengths off 4.
Yeah, the gap that looked like he was going to be able to run away with is closing away. In the 88, he's in second. Christian Peterson, he won the battle between him and Shane McEachin for third. So here come the 88. Here come the 71. They run 2-3 now. They've been 1-2 for most of the night. And right now is where Frank Basilia would like to see another caution like we've seen in the last 15. The 88's to the bumper, coming to 11 laps to go. He's on him.
Yeah, he's right there, but look at the 94, protect that bottom side, saying, here, you want it, take it, but it's going to be on the outside lane. Brasilia, again, into turn number 1, protects that bottom side. The 88, nowhere to go, knows the high side's a good place, but look at the 84, the 94 continue to block the bottom. Look at the 88 way down there. He's going to get a nose now into turn 3.
All the way to the bottom. He can get back to the gas sooner than 94 can, and new race leader at 10 laps to go. Mark Jorgensen Jr. gets it to 94. He's not going to give up. Basilia, he'll fight to the outside, diving to the inside for a second. Christian Peterson knows that he's got to get to him before he runs out of time. And now the 88-71 take over the top 2 spots. The 94 exhales, it falls to P3, and now the question is, can Peterson do something that has really not been done? And that's get around the 88 when he's down in front and in clean air.
Yeah, but look at these fresh tires, these front 2 starting to pull away from the 94. Once they got around them, you can see the speed now, the difference in the 2 and the 4 tires now. It's the top 2, nose to tail, half a truck length separate them off of turn number 2. We close in on the final few laps, and these 2 got to battle it out now for the race win. Peterson looking for win number 4 of the season, and he's got to get around that 88 before he does.
They will follow in each other's line, in front for first and second, and behind in third and fourth. I think that when it comes down to it, the 88 and 71 are very even. They're going to battle for the race lead, I think, as it should be. And Basilia and McEachin extremely even as well. I think it's fair to say that they should be battling for third and fourth, but McEachin drives it too hard. He'll nail the fence in turn 2 and throw it away.
Yeah, that'll definitely spell disaster for the rest of his race there. He's going to have to do everything he can to keep Rodney Wofford now behind him for that 4th spot, but top 2 continuing now to pull away from Frank Brasilia. The 2 tires not working for that 94. It's the battle for the lead continues to heat up. The 71, he's right there, Evan. The problem is, does he have anything for him? Is he going to be able to get a run? And will he be able to get the pass made here before the end of this one here? They work their way once again off of turn number 4, and this time by those 6 laps left to go.
Yeah, and my question is then going to be, when he gets to him, does he necessarily have to do it without the bumper crossover in the first leg of that dog leg there coming through the quad oval? He uses the kink to open up the inside, and he's got the positioning, but the 88 not going to give up. Side by side, down the back straightaway, coming to just 5 laps left to go, and it is a head-to-head fight between Jorgensen and Peterson.
Head-to-head fight. How about this? After 78 laps of this race, it comes down to these 2 guys now. Look at the crossover move now, trying by the 88, trying to stick his nose in there in the dog leg. He does get it there as he fights back now to the inside, trying to take it back over for the race lead off of turn number 2. Here they come. Not quite clear to 71. He's going to fight back now into 3. They're coming to 4 to go this time.
4 laps to go. Inside of the point now where a caution flag would end this race, and this is spectacular racing in front. The 88 machine had the 71 come up the bottom, and now he finds himself at the bottom. Still side by side. By 3/100ths, the advantage to the 71 at the stripe. Nobody is giving anything.
No, they're not giving anything. This is a great battle right here between these two guys. Top guys in the series, in the iSuper Speedway series as well, too. We'll see these guys battle out later on tonight at Daytona, but first they got to finish it off at Texas. 3 to go this time. The 71 not giving up on the outside. He's going to fight back at the line.
This one may be side by side for the final 5 laps consecutively. They work lap 81. They got close. 88, the right rear slides out a little bit. They touch. And Jorgensen going to get clear, and Peterson's in the wall. Coming to 2 laps to go this time. That's all she wrote. The 71 of Christian Peterson. Just as we saw Shane McKeechin do while battling Basilia for 3rd. Gave it too much. Wanted it too bad. In turn number 2. And drives it into the fence.
He knew if he let off the throttle, he was going to lose ground anyway, and if he could catch him, he wouldn't know if he could. 2 laps to go now. They work their way off of turn number 2. The lead now as he's looking for that white flag. This time, he's looking for his first in the truck series. Mark George
to the end. Second. With Peterson, time, checkered flag, Mark Jorgensen wins at Texas.
That was a great battle, great fight, great win for the 88. Much needed trip to victory lane for that 88 of Mark Jorgensen Jr. He's been fast all season, some great runs all through the course of the season. Just couldn't quite find his way to victory lane, and finally gets the job done here at Texas. A great, fantastic finish to this race, and a great battle all through the race between by both of those guys. Jorgensen definitely, I think, one of the fastest, I think he was just a slight bit faster than that 71 over the course of the night, and it showed right there at the end, able to get the pass made and then able to hang on to it, get the trip to victory lane.
And he'll burn it down on the front straightaway. Mark Jorgensen Jr., the number 88 Chevrolet. Money in the bank tonight at the Great American Speedway. And what a spectacular battle late. And, you would have liked to see it maybe go the extra 2.5 laps, but they were glued on each other's door for the better bit of 2 minutes consecutively, trading out the advantage, swapping inside and outside. And it wasn't in the stars tonight for Christian Peterson to get the job done. Jorgensen had the preferred lane and just couldn't get him there. Coming to 2 laps to go, and another good race and a good win for Mark Jorgensen Jr. At all things considered, an exciting and spectacular finish to the Texas 125. We'll talk with the top finishers in a moment and get you set for the main event that comes in less than 45 minutes at LSRTV. It's elimination night for the iSuperspeedway.com Racing Series. We'll be back in a moment from the Lone Star State, watching LSRTV's continuing coverage of the Roddcar Truck Tour on iRacing Live. Back live from the Texas Motor Speedway for the LSRTV post-race show for the conclusion of the Texas 125, 16 races now behind us on this Roddcar Truck Tour Season 2 Championship. 2 racers remain. Talladega next Friday night, and a week following at Homestead of Miami Speedway for the finale. You're not going to want to miss any of that action as we get set to determine a second Truck Series champion. In the meantime, let's wrap up tonight's race and take a look at your LSRTV full race results. For round number 18, Mark Jorgensen Jr. starts second, and he walks away with the W tonight, hanging on 1.2 seconds in front of Christian Peterson, who's going to be able to get a P2 out of it when it's all said and done, and Frank Basilia comes home on the podium. We'll talk with those drivers in our post-race show, Trackside, in just a moment. 4th position tonight, good finish for Ronnie Wofford to finishes where he started, and Corey Henry picks up 9 to come home inside of the top 5. Shane McEachin P6 and Daniel Holloway 7th are the final drivers to finish on the lead lap, with Matt Quick at 8th, 9th, Sean Boundy, Kelly Dahl P10.
Rod Flag, Anthony Ankillo comes home in the 13th spot, 14th to Dana Osborne, and Brendan Chaburko rounds out the 15 truck field we had here tonight. But Victory Lane, it's a busy place and a happy place. You know that 88's pretty stoked getting his first truck win on the season here at Texas.
Getting the job done and doing so in spectacular fashion. Mark Jorgensen Jr. takes home the W here tonight at the Texas Motor Speedway. Mark, congrats for you guys for getting the win. You and Christian Peterson head-to-head for a lot of the night, and you guys were side by side for 3 laps in a row inside of the final 5 laps of this race. What was that fight like with him?
Man, it was pretty intense, man. You know, whenever we was nose to tail, you know, whenever I was out front, you know, I felt pretty good that I was able to keep him back there, just make sure I hit my marks and didn't make a mistake. And then the same thing whenever he was out front, and I was in behind him, you know, just trying to do everything I could to not mess up and not overdrive the corner to let him start pulling away. But man, I don't know how I pulled it off whenever we was side by side, you know, coming to the closing laps. But you know, I was on the outside of him going through 3 and 4, and I had a hellacious run coming off of turn 4, and I just did a crossover on him, and luckily, he left just enough room going on the inside of him. I ended up clipping the grass on that second dog leg, but this truck could have jumped sideways. I was going to stay in it, but man, I just had to hit my marks. You know, whenever he was on the outside of me, because I thought for sure, you know, that he was going to be pinching a lot, and I didn't want to drift up into him and ruin both of our races. But man, it's just pretty cool, man, to be able to pull this off at the home track. Pretty neat.
And it was an interesting race. 15 trucks take the start, only 7 to come home in the end of this one. We saw some names like Frank Basili up there with you guys, Shane McEachin, but I think we all knew it was going to be you in the race all night long. It seemed like you two were, well, we didn't. Still 2 races.
I'd like to give thanks for Brass Pro Shops. Thank y'all guys, in the booth, and Cisco behind the scenes for an amazing broadcast for our league. You know, I can't wait to go back and watch this, you know, because that was a hellacious race, you know, between me and CP all night. I'd like to give another shout out to the job that he does for both of his leagues, you know, on Friday night. You know, can't wait to jump in the A car and try to get it done at Daytona a little bit, and it's pretty cool to win.
Well, hopefully we see just as an exciting race later on tonight. We'll let you debrief for a little bit, hang out, and then we'll see you in about a half hour when we get down to business. Mark, thanks for chatting. Good luck tonight.
All right, thanks, Evan.
So that's your winner tonight, Mark Jorgensen Jr., breaking through to the Truck Series Victory Lane in 2016. Gets the job done tonight. Andy Kessler caught up trackside with Christian Peterson and Frank Basilia, who come home in 2nd and 3rd, and first he's down in the pit stall with the 71 driver.
Yeah, I was waiting for that woohoo from Christian Peterson when he woke up his wife after his Cup Series win earlier this season. But how about a second-place strong run for Christian Peterson here tonight? And you brought home the 71 machine in 2nd. You started on the pole, had a great truck, great run practice and qualifying. And then once you got into that race, you knew you were going to have your hands full with that 88 all night. You guys were battling out pretty good all night long.
Yeah, qualifying, I got some help from my teammate to get a little bit quicker than Mark. I think he was just the fastest truck of the field tonight. But first off, I want to congratulate him. He did an awesome job. and those last couple of laps were a lot of fun. It seemed like earlier in the race, like I could hang with him, and I could hang with him, and I could hang with him, and then I'd mess up. He'd make a little bit mistake, but right when he would make a mistake, I made the mistake like a lap earlier, so I couldn't capitalize on it, and it was a lot of fun, us two racing up there. That's for sure. He seemed to be a little quicker in the race until he got a little bit of right rear damage in the pits with Frank, but those last couple laps were awesome. I was trying to hold him off, and he did a little pass in the grass, and I got loose going into one, and the truck just kind of started to push all after that, and I ended up getting the wall. Luckily, there was only a couple laps left, and I held on to P2.
Yeah, I mean, for our perspective up in the booth, it looks like a lot of fun. You guys battled like you were side by side, switching the lead a couple times there in the closing laps. And talk about from a driver's perspective, how much fun that is, but how much trusting in the other driver you have to have, especially when you were on the outside lane for about 3 or 4 laps straight there, pretty much running door to door with them. How much trust do you have to have in that other driver as well to make that kind of racing happen?
Yeah, Mark is a great driver, but a bunch of these guys in here in the league, you can run like that with. You can pinch and give them about half a car length and know that they're not going to come up into you. It's pretty awesome, to be honest. Sometimes you get a couple guys that you got to be wary with, but all in all, I mean, you really, as long as they hit their entry right, they're good. If you notice that they screw up their entry, you got to kind of move yourself to get out of their way, because you don't always trust that they're going to back off or but as long as it looks like we got into the corner good and everything's looking coming up, I can trust a lot of these guys. Yeah.
Well, it makes it a lot of fun, makes it for some great racing as well, and tonight just one spot short up with your 4th win on the season. Top finishes as well. So moving on with 2 more weeks. Obviously, Dega looms next week, but without that in mind, anything can happen there, but you got a pretty comfortable lead right now.
And as soon as Mark got by me down the back, it was, I got behind those other 2 and it just completely changed, and the tires fell off anyway. I'd only taken 2, even though I only had a few laps on the left, so I was maybe hoping for a caution in between there. Was my only hope, but Christian and Mark, man, they were in a class of their own. They were cut above everybody else, so they deserved the top 2. Either one of them could have won, but it was a really fun race to watch from third anyway, I'll give it that.
Yeah, it absolutely was. Those guys battling out like they did side by side for all those laps. But for you, last couple of truck races been pretty good. Win at Phoenix and then now a top 3 here at Texas. Talk about this momentum carrying you on in the final 2 weeks here of the truck season.
I don't know, really. It's a lot of these tracks, especially Phoenix. That's there in Martinsville are like the last places I expect to win a race at all in official or league anywhere. So that was a surprise to myself. Texas isn't one of my better. My style even changed a little. I'm satisfied with third. Just fun.
So
thanks, Andy. First, LSRTV and you and Evan and Cisco up there. I appreciate what you guys do week in, week out. Rod Flag for putting the league on. I have to, of course, thank my. I'm hoping we can squeak out a win and get to the next round. but that's an extreme long shot. So we'll give it all we got coming up, and stay tuned.
Well, you never know when you go to those plate tracks. A great equalizer, I like to call them. So, well, I wish you the best of luck there, Frank, and we'll see you in a little bit.
Thank you very much, Andy.
All right. Well, Evan, he talked about it coming up here. Chase Racing, 16 drivers going in for only 6 spots here coming up in a little bit. It's going to be a fantastic race.
Yeah, the Daytona round will draw to a close tonight. And as you mentioned, after 82 laps of endurance racing, we're going to have the biggest cut we've ever seen in the elimination-style chase grid, 16-6. And most of the championship favorites, Andy, not in the top 6 and need a win.
Yeah, they're big names that are outside that top 6 right now. So it's going to be a fantastic race. And I think, with the endurance style, I mean, it's going to be all about those green flag pit stops, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. But there's some big names that are the only way they're getting on to the next round is with a win. So it's going to be a fun thing to watch, and I hope everybody stays tuned for that one.
You're not going to want to miss the action coming up in just a couple of minutes from Daytona International Speedway. Our coverage kicks off at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time for the final race of the Daytona round and the iSuper Chase. Before then, though, we wrap things up here tonight for the Texas Motor Speedway and step aside and look forward to our own trip to a plate track in 1 week's time as the trucks go Talladega racing next Friday. It'll be a Talladega doubleheader on LSRTV and iRacing Live. On behalf of everybody behind the scenes at LSRTV LLC, and as always, for myself, Evan Pasoko, and on behalf of Andy Kessler and Cisco Scarza, I want to thank you so much for tuning in and congratulate Mark Jorgensen Jr. for getting the job done. We go chase racing at Daytona next, right here on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. You won't want to miss it.
This copyrighted broadcast is presented under the authority of LSRTV LLC and iRacing.com for sports and may not be transmitted or used in any form, nor the accounts and descriptions of this event disseminated in any way without the express written permission of Live Sim Racing TV. If you would like to thank us, we hope you enjoyed